So today we are gonna start a new lesson, right? Unit number 3. Anybody came across unit number 3's topic? Yeah. What is the topic? Anybody? Yes.
National Renaissance in Sri Lanka.
National Renaissance in Sri Lanka, right? Okay. Now, in the previous lesson, right, we spoke about the establishment of British power in Sri Lanka. We spoke several events that took place under the British. We started from 1796, right? And we spoke up until 1815, the capturing of Candian Kingdom by the British. No need to remember the years. This is for you understand. And we spoke about the 1818 struggle for freedom. And we spoke about the 1848 struggle for freedom. Mainly those 4 points are covered. The arrival of the British in our country for the first time up to the second battle of independence or the Matale rebellion were discussed in the previous lesson. Okay. Now, when I discussed the Matale rebellion or when I discussed about the 1848, when I discussed about the 1848 battle for freedom, what I told you was we did not start an armed struggle after this. Okay, after the defeat of the 1848 battle for independence, we did not do this. Okay, and instead we revived ourselves to fight for our independence diplomatically, or we can say without any weapons, through political means. We revived ourselves to basically get our independence. Okay, one of the main is there are many reasons why we wanted independence, right? In 1818, we decided, like, we have lost our king and we were regretting about losing the king, and so many reasons that we wanted independence from the British. Another reason we wanted independence was uh, basically the fear that we had about our religions and cultures. Okay, I mean, when we are talking about religions in our country, Buddhism being the main religion, and Hinduism and Islam, plus Christianity. Christianity was basically brought by the Portuguese, and it continued. The Dutch, the Portuguese spread Christianity, the Dutch spread Christianity, and also the British also started spreading Christianity at a national level. Okay, so the other religions in the country started feeling a little threatened, because the British did not care too much about the other religions, I would say, and the British wanted to spread their religion. Instead, all the support and all the sponsoring was given to spread their religion, okay, in the country. So the other religions, over a few decades, they started feeling very threatened and they started feeling really scared. So the other people, especially religious leaders from other faiths in Sri Lanka, was started thinking like, at this rate the whole country will be Christian and there won't be any other religions left in the country. So we got to do something in order to protect our religion and our own cultures. Okay. So that is basically where national renaissance starts in Sri Lanka. Basically, national renaissance is primarily based out of religious renaissance. Okay, religious renaissance. Basically, the Buddhists revived themselves, the Hindus revived themselves in the country, the Muslims also took steps to revive themselves in the country, so that all the three faiths could work together, become strong, and work towards independence. This was the original plan. Okay, right. Now let me tell you, like, we will get a general idea about this lesson. Okay, before we start, we will get into the details later. Okay, right. Now, um, there were a lot of missionary organizations from various countries, we can say, coming to Sri Lanka and spreading Christianity. Okay, we will learn about a few missionary organizations later. So they used various methods to spread religion, their religion in the country. For example, The British were basically, the Portuguese were Roman Catholics mainly. Okay, they followed the Roman Church. The Dutch were Protestants. Okay, they followed another branch of Christianity, and they spread that branch in Sri Lanka. Okay, like the Portuguese were spreading Roman Catholicism. The British were like kind of a mix, like they were Roman Catholic, but they had their own church as well, like the Church of England, the Anglicanism as we call it, and they, various missionary organizations spread their own form of religion, I would say. So those missionary organizations came from various countries to our country and started actively spreading their religion in the country. Okay. So then the other religions started feeling a little threatened, and they started feeling like I said before, at this rate, the whole country, we won't have any religion left in the country except Christianity. Okay? This was the fear that other religions had. Now the Buddhist religious leaders started focusing on reviving Buddhism, just like that. And then the Hindu religious leaders focused on basically reviving Hinduism or Hindu culture, for example, Buddhist religion and Buddhism and Buddhist culture. Hindu leaders were focused on reviving Hinduism and Hindu culture. And then Muslim leaders were focused on reviving, let's say, Islam and their own culture. So this is what the three groups or three religions did in our country. On one side, we have the missionary organizations which were sponsored by the British at the national level. Now, when missionary organizations want to come and operate in Sri Lanka, the British government did not have any objection to it, because one of the main reasons why the Europeans came to Asia was to spread their religion. You see, the Europeans mainly came to Asia for trade, okay, to become rich by engaging in trade. That was the main goal. And the second goal of them was to spread their religion. You know why people like to spread their religion, right? If you have an iPhone, for example, would you recommend that to your friend? Would you tell your friend to buy one as well? Yes or no? Tell me. Yeah? If you have an iPhone and you are enjoying using it, would you recommend your friend to buy one?
Yes, sir.
Of course, yeah. And does Apple pay you for selling more Apple phones to your friends?
No, sir.
No, right? So you are doing free marketing for Apple or Samsung, right? You are doing free marketing. Yes? Or you are watching any TV series, you are enjoying it, you are telling your friends to watch as well. And you are not getting paid from Netflix or whatever you call it. So the thing is like that, when you are believing in something, the natural tendency of people is to recommend that to somebody and try to gather as many people as possible under what you believe or under the same thing that you believe, because you can be on the same page, you can be on the same side. And not only that, the Europeans thought, like, if we spread religion, if we spread our religion in these countries, if these countries become Christian, they're going to respect us forever. True enough, right? Now if you are Buddhist, you have big respect to Buddhist countries, right? Like let's say Thailand, let's say Myanmar. You have a natural respect, right? It's normal. And if you are Hindu, you have big respect for India. Let's be honest, let's be frank. You have big respect for India if you are Hindu. If you are Muslim, you have big respect to Arab countries. If you are Catholic, you have big respect for Rome, Italy, Vatican, right? Other Catholic countries, like now most of the countries are kind of secular. European countries, they don't call themselves Christian countries, but they are like more like secular. They don't mix politics with the religion. So like that, obviously, yeah. So I mean, if you are Catholic, obviously you have a bit of a respect for the Portuguese and the Dutch and the British. That's a fact. So this is what the British wanted. This is what the Portuguese wanted when they came to Asia. They wanted to spread their religion. So you get the ultimate respect and you get the respect forever. Okay. Like if you are Hindu, you are respecting India unconditionally. Okay. Right. Because, India is the main Hindu country in the world. Like that. So this is what you can't blame anyone here. We are not blaming anyone here. We are here to discuss what's happened here. Okay, so here we have to think logically. We have to think unbiased. So as a history teacher, I have to be very unbiased. Okay, we have to think of all the sides. So the missionary organizations, they were doing their job, but the problem is the other religions in the country was on the verge of kind of collapsing. Like why? Because the missionary organizations were sponsored by the British government. The British government did not build temples. The British government did not build Hindu temples or mosques. They instead supported the missionary organizations in activities they did. Okay, so the missionary organization, they build churches, they build schools, they engage in various activities to spread their religion, and the other three religions started feeling the heat, started feeling threatened. Okay, right. Now all the leaders from these religions separately thought we got to do something about this. We got to do something to keep the missionary organizations in check or save our communities from basically embracing Christianity. Okay, so what can we do for this? We will revive our own communities. We will start a campaign to revive our own communities. This started with Buddhism, then Hinduism, and then Muslims also revived themselves so that they can be more educated. Everybody can be more educated, and everybody can educate the others about the value of the religion and the culture that they are following. Okay. Now you must be having a very decent question or very fair question, that is why the Buddhists revived them separately. Okay, this I have put separately here, right? So the Buddhists revived them separately, the Hindus revived them separately, the Muslims revived them separately. Why separately? Why can't we join as one nation, one Sri Lanka, one nation? And why can't we revive all the religions together? And then we could have like basically countered the threat from the missionary or Christian missionary organizations, right? You must be having these thoughts, right? Why separately? Why always separately, separately? Okay, look, who has traveled on a plane? Who has traveled on a plane? Yeah. Anybody travel on a plane before in this class? Me also. Yeah, I also have traveled. Yes, okay. So have you you noticed, right? Like the uh, you remember what we do during takeoff? Oh, there's a safety briefing before takeoff, right? You remember? In that, if you remember, they say something like this: in the sudden event of a depressurization of the cabin, masks will drop from above you. Put your mask first or help yourself first and attend to your loved ones or attend to the one next to you. Have you heard it? Yes? Yeah, the
Yes, sir.
masks will. Okay. So why do they say help yourself first, then attend to the loved one? Why can't you attend your kid next to you? Let's say you are a dad and you got to attend your kid first. Why?
That person, at least he should live to help others.
Of course, yeah, you should live first to help others. Okay, now when the cabin gets depressurized, let's say for example due to a technical issue or something like that, the aircraft might get depressurized, and then there will not be enough oxygen for you to breathe. That is why the oxygen masks are activated and they will drop from above you. For those who have not traveled in a plane, I will tell you. Okay, so then what you got to do is you got to put your mask on and pull it, and they will start automatically. You don't have to switch on anything. They will discharge oxygen. They're all chemically activated oxygen, so they're automatic. Okay, the pilots also need not do anything. The pilots can manually do it, or if there's no enough oxygen, the aircraft systems can sense it in the cabin and they will drop the oxygen masks. So you got to help yourself first, because within a 5-6 seconds you will have a hypoxia. Okay, like you lack of oxygen, your brain will go into sleep mode, right? This is very dangerous. And let's say within a few seconds this can happen. Okay, yeah. Sudden loss of pressure or sudden deprivation of oxygen. So then you got to help yourself first. You got to live, you got to breathe first, so then you can attend to the next one and next person who's next to you, your loved ones. So you got to revive yourself first in order to help the nation. Okay. So Buddhists, the Buddhist monks, the Buddhist leaders have to revive Buddhism first. The Hindu leaders, they have to revive their own community first so they can help the country. The Muslims have to revive their community first so they can be part of the independence movement and the development of the country. So the Buddhist monks, the Buddhist monks cannot tell the Muslims know how to go to the mosque, right? That's not fair, right? That doesn't make sense, right? And the Hindu religious leaders like Ayers, they cannot tell the Buddhist monks what to do, right? Yeah, the Muslims cannot tell the Buddhists what to do, no, Bhute? Yeah, can the Muslims tell Ogulo Pansaltan, Ogulo Pansaltan? That doesn't make sense, right? So you got to tell your own people to do what, right? Basically, right? So the Buddhist monks have to revive the Buddhists. Okay, go to the temple and study well and educate yourselves. Look at the thread. We got to appreciate our culture. We had a great history. These things should be told by the Buddhist leaders to the Buddhists first. Okay. Then Hindu leaders had to take care of their group first. Muslims have to take care of their groups. It doesn't make sense for the Buddhists to teach the Hindus and Muslims or vice versa, the other way around, right? Doesn't make sense. But once the three communities were revived, okay, there came a point that all the three communities have to now combine or get together for the bigger goal, for the bigger achievement, that is our independence. So all the three groups at some point got together. This is in 1990 with the establishment of the Ceylon National Congress. This was a huge step in our independence movement. So in this one, for example, in 1919, all Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim leaders got together and formed this one big organization called the Ceylon National Congress to fight hard for independence, to push the British to give us more political freedom. Okay. And you see, in this organization, the first president of this organization became a Hindu educated gentleman. Okay, you see. So when there's talent, there's space. All right, whether Buddhist, Hindu, or Muslim, whatever, like that was the case. Okay, so that shows, okay, that comes there comes one Sri Lanka, one nation, right? So when there's talent, the religion doesn't matter, the race doesn't matter, what you follow doesn't matter, you get the place that you deserve. So basically this is in brief, this is what national renaissance means. Basically there was the threat from the Catholic missionary organizations, and the other three religions had to revive themselves, had to revive their own communities. And once the communities were revived, we basically pushed the British government so that we can get independence faster. So first the communities had to be revived, the religions had to be revived, people had to be educated. Once that is done, we were able to push the British to grant us more political freedom and push them to a level that they give us more political freedom and we can work towards independence. Okay, so this is the lesson in brief. Now we will take a look at what happened with the missionary organizations in detail. Okay, so several missionary organizations came to our country after the British captured our country, or after the British, basically established themselves in our country. Some of them even came during or even before Candian Kingdom was captured, but many organizations came after 1815, I would say. Okay, so I want you to read a few things here. In the tute, I have left some gaps, so I can share the tute with you so you can slowly fill in those gaps. And I want you all to go to page number 42 in the book, and there's a table there. And you can see some missionary organizations who came from other countries, like some came from England, some came from, we can say, Europe, some came from America. So these are some missionary organizations which were active in Sri Lanka, who were actively spreading Catholicism in Sri Lanka. Okay, so these missionary organizations, some of them had areas. Some missionary organizations were working in the western coast or coastal areas. Some of them were active in Jaffna. They also had like some understanding between them, and they had basically allocated some areas to spread religion. So they engaged in the activities. Okay. So before we talk about what activities they were engaged in to spread Christianity in the country, we will name a few missionary organizations and you have to remember at least 3 of them. Who can tell me a few from page number 42 in the book? Yeah. London Missionary Organization. Now, sometimes Uday, these missionary organizations are called missionary societies also. Okay. In the book, they say missionary organization, right? But sometimes you will see if you check in Google and all, you will see that they are mostly called missionary societies as well. Okay. Missionary society. So in the book, we use the name organizations, no problem. But official names can be a little different, but we can still use organizations, no problem. Okay, because obviously they're well organized group with a bit of a national level sponsoring. Okay, basically they were non-governmental organizations, but they were given so much support from the British government, I could say. Okay, right. Then
Baptist Mission.
London Missionary Organization, just one. Okay, yeah, one S is a typo. Baptist Missionary Organization, good. Then easy to remember American Missionary Organization. Yeah, it's there, right? Church Missionary Organization. These are easy to
Yes, sir.
remember, right? Yeah. Church Missionary Society or American Missionary Organization. Then we have the Wesleyan Missionary Organization. Wesleyan Missionary Organization, the Catholics know. It's a kind of a Methodist missionary organization. They followed the Methodist principles. So then that's also a strong missionary organization, I would say. You see, the year they came to Sri Lanka is also mentioned here. A couple of missionary organizations came even before Canadian Kingdom was captured by the British, and many came literally, we can say, after the capturing of, or during the time of capturing of Canadian Kingdom. Okay, right. Anyway, you don't have to remember the years, yeah, but you can remember 3 missionary organizations. Okay, tell me 3 now, quick.
London, Baptized and
Missionary and Baptist Missionary.
Baptist Missionary Organization, London Missionary Organization, American Missionary Organization, Church Missionary Organization, Wesleyan Missionary Organization. You have 5 here. You can remember at least 3. Everybody okay? No? Everybody okay? Shall we move forward? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, no? Right. Easy, right? Okay. Because they might ask you in the exam. All right. Name 3 missionary organizations which were active in Sri Lanka in spreading Christianity or Catholicism. Can name a few. Okay, right. Now, next up, we will go to what activities did the missionary organizations do to spread their religion. Basically, Buddha, the missionary organizations followed 3 methods to spread their religion. The first method they used is publications. Publications. Okay. The second method, we will come one by one. Okay. The second method they used was preaching. Preaching. The third one they used is also one of the most effective, I would say, education. Okay. So you remember the 3 methods used by the missionary organizations to spread their religion or spread Christianity in our country. Let's focus on the first one, publications. Now, Sri Lankans, you look, the people's natural tendency is to learn. Okay, this is very natural. Okay, so let's say you don't have books, you have never got a chance to read newspapers or books. If you find a book or newspaper, you will definitely read it. Okay, if you haven't read for a very long time, and if you don't have access to it, for example, now today we have access to these mobile phones and internet. But just imagine staying 1 week without internet, and the moment you get internet, you will literally scroll through everything. Right, you will scroll through all the website that you missed to check, and then all the chats and all the apps that you missed to watch, right? So have you stayed without internet for a couple of days? I don't think anybody can survive for a week without internet in the modern day world. So similarly, that is the natural tendency. Now, what the missionary organizations, they did a very tricky thing here. they brought a printing press to our country and they started printing and publishing books and magazines. They printed the Bible and basically we can say distributed among the public. And they printed, this is the most important thing, they printed some magazines and they were in Sinhala. Okay, so they were in Sinhala and they spread or they distributed those magazines among the general public who are non-Christians in the country. So what they did, those people who were very keen for knowledge and everything were so fond of reading and they did not have a lot of resources those days, no newspapers, nothing. So when these publications came in, they were so excited to read them because knowledge is like, important. But in these publications, they mostly promoted Catholicism. They promoted Christian teachings. They promoted the benefits of becoming a Catholic and these kind of things. So they basically, in a we can say in a bit of a tricky way, they promoted the religious articles and everything in those magazines. So this is one of the main methods at the initial stage used by the missionary organizations to spread their religion in the country. So some of these publications are also mentioned in the next table in page number 42. No need to remember which organization published which magazine, but if you want to remember, you can remember. So they had their singular names to these magazines. Okay, Masika Tag, Masika Tag, monthly gift. That is the meaning of Masika Tag, right? So Masika Tag, so every month there will be a magazine. This was published by the Church Missionary Organization, and there were a lot of articles promoting Christianity in that. Then Lanka Nidane was another one. Then Uragala was another one, right? Lanka Nidane Religious Book Club, Uragala Baptist Missionary Organization. So Lanka Nidane here and Uragala. These are some publications published by the missionary organizations, and those articles in those publications were written in a very attractive manner, so that the language and the style of writing was very beautiful, so that people who read those magazines would fall for it, right? Would be very interested in reading those. And most of these these magazines promoted Catholicism. Okay, articles contained promoting Catholicism in those magazines. Okay, this was the main goal of the missionary organizations, right? They wanted to spread the religion in the country. Okay, then another method used by the missionary organization is preaching. Preaching means delivering lectures, delivering sermons in the public places. So in the towns, in the junctions, priests from the missionary organization started preaching publicly. And sometimes they would also wait outside Buddhist temples. When the Buddhists do their worship activities and come out, they would preach to them, right, publicly. And these preachers from missionary organizations had a very, I would say, had a very unique style of speech. I would say very attractive. They were very well trained in delivering these sermons, so that they can basically maintain the attention of people for a very long time in an attractive manner. Okay, so when they deliver something, people get so convinced. So many people converted to Christianity following these preachings as well, not only publications but also preachings. The preachers were able to deliver their preachings in a very attractive manner. So people fell for it, and people changed their religion as well. So preaching in public places, like in towns, in cities, and even outside Buddhist temples, that was done by the missionary organization. Okay, this is one of the main methods they used as well. Everybody got it up to now? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then the third one, this is the most important one, I would say, right? Okay. The missionary organizations started schools in our country, and these schools gave English education, and these schools became the best schools in the country. So these missionary organizations had funding. Some funding came from the government, some funding came from the donors, and they started establishing we can say high class schools in the country. Now even today, some of the best schools in the country are basically missionary schools that were established long ago, right? Let me tell you a few schools, right? You have Richmond College in Gaul. You have Trinity College in Kandy.
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, St. Peter's, St. Joseph's in Colombo, and St. Anne's in Kurunagala. They have a lot of good schools and lady schools, girls schools also. We have to mention, right? Like Southlands in Gaul. Then in Colombo, we have several girls schools, right? Bishop's College. Then you have St. Bridget's Convent, and then those schools have, like automatically they have a big name, right? Yeah, they are good in sports. They have a big name. They have a big reputation, because they were started by missionary organizations, and they were at some point the best schools in the country. Okay, even today, yeah, they continue to be among the best schools in the country. Yeah. So the thing is, these missionary organizations were able to establish those good schools and attract people to them. Now, one of the main requirements in order to get a good education in those schools or to join those schools is to embrace Christianity. You have to be a Catholic. Only Catholics were recruited to those schools. So many Buddhist parents, other parents of other religions, Buddhism, like 90% were Buddhists in the country back then. Okay, so that's why we are mainly talking Buddhist like this. So wide majority of the country were Buddhists at that time. Okay, so they had no choice. Those parents had no choice. But if your son, if they had a dream of their son to study well in some of the best schools in the country, get a proper English education, and then maybe join the government service. If you want to join the government service, you have to get educated in English, and this was a requirement. And students who studied in those schools had been given preference. Okay. So later on, this started changing. Later on, other faiths were also recruited in these schools. Today, these schools are not exclusively Christian or something like that, but most of the students, but they also have opportunities for many faiths, right? Like, Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim, everybody studying in those schools today. Today, we are independent country, right? So that's the reason. But like those days, you had to be a Catholic to attend those schools and get a very high quality education, and then you will be considered for your government positions as well once you get out of those schools. So parents had no choice but sometimes to change their religion and name their children in Christian names as well in order to get a good education in the country. So this is one of the main we can say methods used by the Catholic missionary organizations or Christian missionary organizations to spread their religion in the country through education. Okay, so those schools also spread basically the uh, religious based curriculum. So religion was given so much importance in those schools as well. Even today it's like that, right? In the missionary schools, if you are going to a missionary schools, we have a lot of students from missionary schools. Yeah, St. Thomas, St. Peter's, St. Joseph's. We have Trinity College. I have taught literally many students from many those missionary schools. So you know better than me about this. I studied in DSNRI College in Colombo, so I don't have experience going to a missionary schools. But my friends did. So you know how the things are done, like giving religion more preference, and then there's for example, the rector, and then he's like the head. I mean, you know what I mean, like normally a father. So still the church is very we can say very connected. Okay, and with the missionary schools even today, that's what you can see. So this was the case before as well, so that they could spread the religion using education as a medium. And this is what the missionary organizations did. These are the three methods followed by missionary organizations to spread their religion in the country. Everybody got it, no?
Yes, sir.
Preaching means delivering lectures publicly. Okay, that is called preaching. Yeah. So your preaching means you are delivering a lecture about religion mainly. Okay, religion. So you are telling the benefits of the religion. You are teaching the religious teachings. So you are attracting the others. Like let's say it's part of spreading religion. Okay, convincing others for accepting your religion. That is preaching. Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Anybody have any
No,
questions?
sir.
You can put in the chat box. Okay, right. Okay, tell me now. What are the three methods used by missionary organizations to spread their religion, to spread
Publication.
Christianity?
And
Education.
Tell me in order.
Publication.
Publication, that is what started first, right? They
Publications,
did
preaching and
publications first.
education.
Publication,
Hmm.
teaching,
education.
education.
Okay. So here in the book it says writing. So we will go with that same. Writings means publications only, right? Writings means just not writing on papers, but writing means publications. Okay, so that is the best word. But your book says writing, no? It's okay. Writings are publications only. Writings are magazines and newspapers that they published. Okay, so it's okay. You can write both. You can write writing slash publications, both. Yeah, no problem. So writing or publications, preaching, and education. Those are the three methods used by missionary organizations to spread their religion. Okay, so this is a very important point. Right, and then now we will take a look at how basically the other religions started reviving themselves. And first of all, we will focus our attention on the Buddhist Renaissance. Okay, so how Buddhists basically revived themselves and became better at education, or in order to counter the threat posed by the Catholic Christian missionary organizations. What did the Buddhist leaders do? So the Buddhist monks took leadership in the Buddhist Renaissance, I would say, and they came forward and they started establishing pirivenas. Pirivenas are basically schools for monks mainly, but pirivenas can also accommodate the layman, okay, normal people as well, but limited number based on, they will, pirivenas are mainly built for educating monks. Okay, pirivena is like a university, but for monks. It's a school for monks. That is what we call pirivena. Okay. But normal people also have gone to Pirivena, can go based on their acceptance. Okay, the chief monk has to decide whether you are eligible. Okay, yeah. So we have a few normal people or laymen. Not only the ordained. Ordained means the monks, and laymen are the normal people in the society. So they have also learned in Pirivenas. Okay, yeah, like not in big numbers, but Pirivenas are, you listen to this carefully. Pirivenas are mainly built to educate the monks. Now, see how the Buddhist monks started thinking. They thought very tactically. They thought very intelligently here. So what some Buddhist monks did, leading Buddhist monks in the country, they built Pirivenas, and they knew when you educate the monks, okay, when you educate the religious leaders, they're going to take care of the people. So what the Buddhist leaders did first, they started Pirivenas to educate the monks. Once the monks are educated, they are going to automatically educate the general public. Okay, you see how tactical, how intelligent that decision. So we have three Pirivenas, very important Pirivenas established by three prominent monks in Sri Lanka. When the Catholic missionary organizations or when the Christian missionary organizations were spreading religion, we had our Buddhist monks also starting Pirivenas and educating the monks to prepare them for the future, basically. Yeah, like to so that they would educate the general public about the value of the religion, about the value of the culture, and revive the culture and the religion. Okay, this was the main goal. So we have three prominent monks who started three prominent Pirivenas in the country. Two of these Pirivenas are universities today. Okay, so let me also tell you that. And the first monk we are going to discuss today is Valaneshi Siddhartha Dero. Now, you might have seen these monks' names. They have their birthplace before their name. Okay. For example, Valaneshi Siddhartha Thero or Valane Siddhartha Thero was from Valana. Valana is a place near Panadura. Okay, so this is how the monks' names are there. Okay, I also remember one of my classmates. Okay, when I was teaching, when I was in Ashoka Vidyalaya when I was doing O-levels. I went to DSNI college for my A-levels. So one of my classmates is a monk today, okay? I haven't met him after that, but he's a prominent monk in the country. I'll tell you his name. He's from Meegoda, okay? So his name today is Meegoda Sukita Tero, right? Meegoda Sukita Tero. Then his layman name, when we were studying together, Kalpa Ridmika, okay? So he, those days itself, he was like very religious, and I thought one day he's gonna be a monk. So then, like 10 years ago, I heard that he became a monk. He's today a very prominent monk in the country. I'm yet to meet him, but hopefully I will meet him someday. He would remember me. Yeah, 100%, because we studied in the same class. Right. So, see, he's from Meegoda, so he's Meegoda Sugita. That's example I'm telling you from my life. Okay. And all these monks have their basically the name of their hometown in front of their name. That is normally how monks adopt their names. Okay. So just so that you can remember better, right? This tip is given to you so you can remember better. The Buddhist kids, they know this, but we have a lot of students from various religions. So this is Sri Lanka, right? Multi-ethnic, multi-religious. So it's my duty as a teacher to give you a basic idea of all the cultures and all the religions in the country. And very fortunately, I have a very good knowledge about all religions and all cultures in the country. Okay. Yeah, luckily, right? Being a history teacher, I mean, it's very important, okay, to have a lot of knowledge. Yeah, okay. I mean, other history teachers don't have, they have only mostly knowledge about one religion. But this is God's gift. Okay, so Valane Sri Siddhartha Thero started a Pirivena in Ratmalan. Okay, this Pirivena is called Parama Dhamma Chetiya Pirivena. This was established in Ratmalana. Okay. Ratmalana is a place. You can write it so you can remember better. Then there's another prominent monk, Hikkaduwe Sri Sumangala Thero. Now again, I'm telling Hikkaduwe, then you know where he is from. Where he's from now? Yeah. Hikkaduwe in Gaul district, right? Yeah. So Hikkaduwe Sri Sumangala Thero. Hikkaduwe Sri Sumangala Thero started the Vidyodaya Pirivena in Maliga Kanda. Maliga Kanda is near Maradana Colombo 10, okay? Sorry, my spellings. Vidyodaya Pirivena Maliga Kanda. Sorry, I will write Maliga Kanda here, right? Maliga Kanda is close to Maliga Kanda, Maligavatta, Maradana, close to each other. Maliga Kanda, this word Maligavatta, Maliga Kanda is coming from Rajasingha the first times, okay? Rajasingha the first, when he surrounded the Colombo fort to defeat the Portuguese, this is the place where he camped. This is the place where he had the temporary palace built. Okay, this siege was going for a very long time. So Maliga Kanda is a little high, hilly area, like, a little bit of a hill. So he can monitor the Colombo fort from there. So that's what you call Maliga Kanda. Maliga Vatta is basically the garden that was there, part of Maradana, this area, basically overlooking the Colombo fort. So he was in the, vicinity of the Colombo fort when he surrounded the Colombo fort. That is how you have these names, Maliga Kanda, Maliga Vatta, because there's Maliga there, like temporary one, okay, built by Rajasingha the first. Okay, right. Then we have another Pirivena built by Ratmalane Dhammaloka Thero. Little difficult names to remember, Pude, but you can remember enough times repeated. It also took me a few times to repeat to remember this. Okay, we can make a poem also to remember these things, but right now we will teach you later. Right now, let's focus on the names. Okay, right. So Ratmalane Dhammaloka Thero built another Pirivena called Vidyalankara Pirivena. And this was built in Paliagoda. Paliagoda is close to Kalania. Have you been to Paliagoda, anybody?
I'm from
Kalania?
Kalania.
Who is that?
I'm Monaksha. I'm from Kalania.
You're from Kalania itself. Okay. Then you know the University of Kalania. Yes?
Yes, sir.
That university is Vidyalankara Piriyana. Okay, that was Vidyalankara Piriyana. Vidyalankara Piriyana became University of Kalani. Okay. Then Vidyodaya Piriyana was shifted a few places. Originally started in Maliga Khand. Vidyodaya Piriyana became the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Okay. Then Paramadhamma Chetri Piriyana is still there. Right. Okay. So these are the three Pirivanas established to teach the Buddhist monks, to educate the Buddhist monks, because these prominent Buddhist monks, Valaneshi Siddhartha Thero, Hikkadueshi Sumangala Thero, you cannot forget Hikkadueshi Sumangala Thero when you are talking about Buddhist Renaissance in the country. Remember this name very well, okay? And then Ratmalane Dhammaloka Thero, all three monks, great monks, they started three Pirivanas to educate the bhikkhus and in these three places, okay? So that they know once we have done that, we have laid a strong foundation and we can work towards educating the public. So remember, this is how the Buddhist Renaissance started. And then on top of that, the Buddhist monks also, with the help of others, were able to establish a printing press. Now we didn't have a printing press, and the Buddhists didn't have a printing press to print and distribute Buddhist publications. And the Catholic missionary organization, they brought the printing presses and they did Lanka Nidane, Uragala, Masika Tagga, right? You remember we spoke about this. But then the Buddhist monks also, with the help of others, established a printing press. And the first Buddhist printing press to be established in Sri Lanka was Lankopakara printers. Lankopakara printers. Now this Lankopakara is a combination of two words, right? Lanka, Upakara. Upakara karna can help. So to help Sri Lanka, this basically, this printing press was established. This is the first Buddhist printing press in the country, which published Buddhist magazines and newspapers as well. Okay. Then after Lankopakara printers, we have several other printers established in the country. Lankopakara printers was established by one monk, Buladgama Dhammalankara Thero. It's very difficult to remember, right? Very long name he has. In page number 43 you can see, but it's not a must to remember this. It's fine. Just remember that the first Buddhist press in the country is Lankopakara printers. Then many other printing presses were also established. Lanka Abhinava Vishrata printers, Kavata Katika printers, Sudarshana printers, Sarasavi Sandarasa printers. Several printing presses like that were established to print and publish Buddhist publications. So you can remember a few of them, okay? Lankopakara printers, don't forget, that is the first Buddhist printing press. And you can easily remember Sarasavi Sandarasa because you know Sarasavi bookshop, very popular. So you can remember with that name, Sarasavi Sandarasa printers. And Sudarshana printers also very easy to remember because there are many Sudarshanas in the country, right? It's a common name, right? Sudarshana. So yeah, many people name Sudarshana also. Yeah. So Sudarshana printers easy to remember. Then Sarasavi Sandarasa also easy to remember. Okay, now these printing presses, Pute, they started publishing various magazines and newspapers. Okay, I will show you some photos of those old newspapers as well, Sinhala newspapers and Buddhist magazines. Okay, right. So some Buddhist publications, Lakmini Pahana, Lanka Loke newspaper, Sarasavi Sandarasa. Sarasavi Sandarasa was a printing press and also there was a publication called Sarasavi Sandarasa. Then another two important publications, Sinhala Jati and Sinhala Bauddha. Sinhala Jati and Sinhala Bauddha primarily looked to instill nationalism or patriotist values in the Sinhala people. Sinhala Jati, Sinhala Bauddha, these two. For example, Anagarika Dharmapalatuma wrote many articles to these two magazines. Okay, so these magazines used very strong language, we can say, to revive the Sinhala people in the country. Okay, to help them understand the value of Buddhism and the value of the culture. So, like one of the main things these magazines tried to do is to revive the history of the country. These magazines talk to people like, look at your past, Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa eras. We were self-sufficient. We were very strong, and our culture, our religion was at a very high place. And today, what has happened to us today? We have become alcoholic. We are basically following the British or the Western traditions. We have given up our own culture and traditions and embracing the Western culture and traditions. This should stop. And we got to go back to our golden times, and we got to revive ourselves. We got to educate ourselves in terms of religion. We got to educate ourselves, by going to school, and we got to revive ourselves so that we can come to a position so that we can challenge the British governments towards giving us more independence or more political freedom is another part, but more, reviving means we are working towards independence. Okay, this is the main goal of these publications. Okay, right. So to take the, there was a big tendency, 90% of the people, like I said, Buddhist people, most of the people, then small percentage Hindu people and Muslim people. So, for example, when the when the British started spreading alcoholism in the country, they opened many liquor shops in the country, and many people embraced alcoholism. Okay, many people became alcoholic. So that was a very bad trend that was going on in the society. So wide majority of people were Buddhist, so many of them became, started consuming alcohol, and other religion people from other religions as well, Hindu and other Muslims as well. So then this was a problem, right, in the society. So the religious leaders look to take people out of these problems, and you know we will talk about it more, okay, in the coming week, yeah, about alcoholism and what steps were taken to save the people from getting alcoholic. Okay, right, we'll talk about it. Okay, so then tell me three printing presses established. Tell me three Buddhist printing press. What is the first Buddhist printing press? Lankopakara printers. Okay, tell me two more Buddhist printing presses.
Saraswati Chandra Sudarshan.
Good. Yeah, Saraswati Nandarasha. Sudarsana printers, then Lankabhinav Vishrata, little difficult to remember. Then Kavata Kartika printers, if you can remember, you can remember. Okay. Then tell me three Buddhist publications.
Lanka,
Lanka.
Lanka,
Saraswati Chandra
Jati,
Sinhala Jatiya Saraswati Sandarasa, Lanka Loke, Lanka Lokaya, Sarasavi Sandarasa. You can remember, you can write a few, okay?
Sinhala Bauddhi,
Sinhala Jatiya, Sinhala Bauddhya, good. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at those papers, and we'll say bye for today, because we are continuing the seminar also tomorrow. So we can continue the lesson next week. Next week, we will talk more about the Buddhist Renaissance. We will talk about the Buddhist schools. We will talk about various movements established by Buddhists to revive the Buddhist people in the country. And then we will move on to talking about Hindu Renaissance and Islamic Renaissance. Okay. Yeah. In the country. Oh, many from California. Good. All right. All right. So let's take a look at those, some publications, Yeah, I wanted to show you this one. Unfortunately, it's not there in the book, right? Lanka Loke is more like it's a newspaper, okay? So in the newspaper, the huge, we can say, like a part was given to basically promoting Buddhism, right? Okay. Sarasavi Sandarasa also newspaper, but the thing is, they promoted Buddhism, okay? Because mainly they wanted to educate the Buddhist people about the importance of reviving the Buddhist culture, right? This was very important. Okay, now you can see that the letters, the Sinhala letters are kind of different, okay? Can you see Lanka Loke? The Lakmini Pahana is also there. Can you see? Lakmini Pahana here. Lanka Loke here. So you see there's no, the Bindu. Yeah, this is written like this those days. So Lanka Loke is this. Can you see Pute? Confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Right. Then can you see Lakmini Pahana? Here
Yes,
you
sir.
go. When was this? When was this? It's a very old paper. 1931, no? Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, 1931. Lakmini Pahana. Then Lanka Loke is also older than this copy, I think. Cannot see clearly. Yeah. So these are some Buddhist publications. Yeah. Then today we don't have these newspapers, right? Yeah. All right. So that's it about today. That's enough for today. And we will continue. We spoke about several things today. We spoke about missionary organizations and the methods they use to spread Christianity. We also spoke about various publications by missionary organizations. We also spoke about several Buddhist monks who took leadership in establishing several pirivanas in the country. We also spoke about a few Buddhist printing presses that were established in the country and a few Buddhist publications that were made in the country. Okay, so next week we will talk more about Buddhist Renaissance, and there were other methods used by Buddhist monks to basically counter the threat from the Catholic missionary organizations. We'll talk about that, and then we will talk about other Renaissance campaigns like the Hindu Renaissance and the Islamic Renaissance as well. Okay. That's enough for one day. We will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye. God bless you. Have a good night, Pute.
Thank you and bye.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, Pute.
Good
Thank
Thank
night.
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
And you, sir.
Good
Bye.
night,
See
sir.
you. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.